All right, guys. So, like I promised, I told you guys I would try to have more interviews. Okay, that's what I'm trying to do with my channel to try to, more legitimize my platform. And today we have a very, very, very special guest, Mr. Dimis Christophy, whom had a video go viral of him at a school board meeting in Loudoun County. Now, if you guys remember, Loudoun County, that is the county that is essentially going super woke, right? They're trying to implement critical race theory. They're trying to make teachers use proper pronouns. They're trying to get rid of advanced math courses. They're doing all kinds of things that, a lot of parents just don't like. And Mr. Christophy, he spoke out and he said, listen, if you guys are going to implement this, gender pronoun policy, I'm going to make you call my kids king and queen, okay? And call me master, right? Call me master. And that impressed me, okay? I loved it. And just to remind you guys, here's the clip so you guys can see what he actually said.
These are our children, not yours. Their job is not to raise my child or my neighbor's child. Their job is to teach our kids math, science, biology, literature, and that's it. Not ideology. Now you want to push garbage crap like pronouns? How the hell does that keep a kid from succeeding? How does that help them? Does that teach them how to add? You want to push that garbage down my kid's throat? I will make you call my kids king and queen. That's how I will address my sons and my daughter. And you look at me, you call me master. You want that pronoun to be in your mouth when you look at me?
All right, guys. So as you can see there, again, I loved it. And I did a video about it. Now, Mr. Christophy reached out to me and said, hey, man, I saw that you did a video about it. Would love to come on your channel and do an interview. And I thought it was a great idea because, this is one of those issues, guys, I think conservatives are really, really concerned about in regards to what's going on in our schools, how our kids have been indoctrinated. And I thought that it would be a great idea to have a parent that's on the front lines fighting, right, the good fight, really tell us what's going on. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce Mr. Dimis Christophy. Please tell us a little bit about yourself and your background.
Hey, Greg. Hey, thanks for having me on your show, man. You can call me Dimis, man.
Dimis, gotcha. I want to be respectful.
No, I'm good. I'm good, man. I totally understand. Yeah, man. Look, I'm an immigrant. I lived here for 27 years. I came here in 1993 as an Iranian immigrant. Didn't speak a word of English. The only thing I came here with was whatever education I had back in Iran. We came with nothing. I had nothing. My parents, we were not rich. We came in here as poor as we were at that time. And we were struck with, reality. You could say that. Different country, different culture. And here we are. It's been a rough road, but I don't regret a single thing, man. I love this country with everything that it has given me. Respectfully, the challenges that I had to go through has made me who I am now. And yeah, I mean, like now I want my kids to have a better life than I did. So this is why I spoke out, because when I just realized how schools have changed since I went to school here. It's changed a lot. The generation has changed. Technology has changed extremely. The view of people now, people are more connected. People are more exposed to different things. As I was growing up, you can tell like we were not exposed to this much stuff.
Yeah.
During our lifetime, during our childhood, we were outside playing with dirt. We were riding our bikes on skateboards and doing this. We were not, tied down to our computers or phones or tablets or anything like that. So, but yeah, I mean, I grew up with all this stuff. I'm a generation of 8-track and cassette tapes, man. So
yeah, I got you. I think
You
I
know?
may be the generation of, I'm 26, so I'm not,
Okay.
I don't know how old you are, but
I'm 41.
Okay, guys, so a little bit, some distance here, okay,
Right,
but
right.
that's why I was calling you Mister. I
Yeah,
respect people that are older than me, right? I have high
absolutely.
respect for those people, but yeah, I mean, I'm young, but I still grew up in a generation of CD players, right? So
Yeah,
maybe right out your generation, and
right, right,
even me growing up, I didn't experience this in school.
right. But I mean, much respect to you, man. Like you're very articulate. You're very respectful, and that's great. Um, and much props to your parents, whoever you brought you up. That's a great personality that you have, that you respect your elders. And we're the same way, man. Like I teach my kids, respect your elders. Even if you don't like what they say, they're still older than you, they're still more knowledgeable. They've torn, there's a saying that we have, they've torn more shirts than you have. So it's just a matter of experience. They have more experience than you have. But anyhow, yeah, I mean, now in nowadays, like, I see what's happening to our school system. It's just deteriorating, man. It's just going down the drain. They're not focused on the actual curriculum to keep the kids smart. The kids are getting dumber and dumber and dumber because I'm sure you've seen plenty of videos out there when they ask the kids about, who's the president, who's the vice president, who's your senator, who's your, local governor, and all that stuff. They're like, what? And they're like, do you know who J-Lo is? Oh my God. Like, they go nuts. Do you know who Jay-Z is? Oh my God. Like, they know everybody. They know everybody in Hollywood, but they know nothing about where they live.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I reached out to you because, as I said in my interview on Fox and Friends, that we don't have a platform to speak on, especially the parents. Most of them are afraid to move forward, like speak out about this stuff. And I guess I had a moment of epiphany at that school where I was like, I had enough. This is enough. Like, we need to speak out. We need to, make these people hear us. Yeah. And because the other side, they scream, they yell, and they get their way, just like a stubborn child, like they stomp their feet, they keep crying, and they're like, okay, fine, well, I'll give it to you, just shut up, just here, I'll give you what you want, just shut up.
Yeah.
So I guess we gotta, be in the same gaming platform, right? So play the same game.
So tell us a little bit about what's going on in Loudoun County, because that county seems to be like kind of the battleground and kind of started this whole kind of movement of school boards and school districts going woke. Okay, so as a parent on the ground, what are some of the policies and things that they're pushing that you disagree with?
So here's a few things that started out. If you remember, a PE teacher got fired for coming to a public school hearing saying that, hey, I'm not going to adhere to your rules of preferred pronouns and all that stuff because my religious belief doesn't allow me to go that far. And the teacher was Mr. Tanner, and he's actually my kid's PE teacher.
Okay.
He was fired, and he sued, and the court reinstated him. They're saying this was not justifiable firing or whatever. Then, they'll try to implement CRT and all that stuff, but, they don't use the word CRT in the curriculum, and this is why they're like, oh, we don't have CRT. What they do is they use words, equity and equality.
Yeah.
This is what they use. They don't use the word CRT because CRT is criticized all over the place.
Yeah.
So, they're very manipulative when it comes down to wording. You have to be careful because they use certain words that people kind of overlook.
Yeah.
But the meaning behind it is completely different.
Yeah.
And so now they want to implement equity and equality. And now, as you know, like after my speech, the board passed the pronoun policy and transgender bathroom policy and transgender participation in sports policy. So that was I already knew they were going to do it. I had no doubt they were going to pass this. No matter if there was 1,000 parents out there screaming and yelling, they didn't care. They don't listen to us. That's not what they're there for. They're there to push their agenda and push their feelings, and they think they're doing the right thing. So as the pronouns, look, man, these kids, these children, they don't know any better at this point. So, and I'm sure you've been seeing different videos how the teacher's saying, don't listen to your parents.
Yep.
Your parents are dumb.
Mm-hmm.
Or the recent video I saw, this girl, this teacher, she took off the American flag out of her classroom, and she put up an LGBTQ flag. And when it was a pledge of, and during Pledge of Allegiance, they're like, oh, there's no American flag. And she's like, oh, well, there's a flag on the wall. Let's pledge allegiance to the... I mean, how disrespectful can you be to this country?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you don't like this country, man, get the hell up and leave. Go somewhere else that I mean, I came here because I love this country. My parents brought us here for a better future for us. Mm-hmm. And these people, they just try to destroy it. But going back to pronouns and transgender bathroom policy and all that stuff, here's the issue. These people fight for women's rights constantly. And at the same time, they're trying to take away their achievements. And they come back and say, oh, there's a pay gap. And there's this. Well, how is a girl in middle school, high school, is competing, is trying as hard as she can to be something in the future, and a guy who comes in is like, oh, I feel like I'm a girl. I'm going to change my pronouns to she and her and whatever, it, and I don't even know what pronouns they use these days. And I know king and queen are not pronouns. I told him it was a joke against them. Just to,
I understand what you were saying, man. In my video, I made it so I'm like, you know what? But they're nouns, right? And apparently, you can change your nouns too, not just your pronouns. So you're right. You're right. Your point was made. Okay. We all make mistakes.
And, people call themselves mermaids. So.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
But like when you have biologically, I mean, like, if, they keep saying science. But I mean, biologically, men are men, women are women. We all built differently. Our muscle structures built differently.
Yeah.
Our fibers heal differently when you exercise. So there's a bunch of stuff like men are capable and women are not in some areas. But that's, if a transgender wins a race, a running race, a transgender wins weightlifting or whatever they do, that girl who tries the hardest to beat a transgender guy, her shadows are crushed. She's not going to pursue it anymore. She's done with. Mm-hmm. She's like, screw this. I'm not going to, if this is going to be that, then you know what? Eventually it's going to be men's team and the transgender team. The women's team's kind of slowly going to fade away. Mm-hmm. And, on this CRT thing, look, I grew up, I worked in a bank for 5 years in the richest area of California called Pacific Palisades. Mm-hmm. Everyone's rich.
Yeah.
And people say, oh, people are racist. No, people are not racist. People are prejudiced. Yeah. They don't even know what the word racist means, because it's just such a term. They use this term so loosely, like they have no idea what it means. People are prejudiced.
Yeah.
When I was an operational manager at the bank, and I stand, with the teller line. Sometimes I had to open up because we're so busy. I had to help clients out, and clients chose to not come to my window and go to somebody else's window. Mm-hmm. And I was like, cool, one less transaction for me, dude.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah.
No, go bother somebody else.
Yeah.
But the irony here was I had to approve the transaction for them.
Yeah.
Because they come in with a high dollar amount and they try to make a deposit or withdraw. My tellers, they're limited to a certain amount of dollar transaction, while I have the higher authority to say, hey, it's a good transaction, approve, or I can't do this. So while that person goes to the other teller, I have another client at my window, and now that person is waiting for my approval to come and approve their transaction.
Yeah.
So I'm taking my time, helping my client. I'm not going to move out of my window until I'm done with my client. And that client could be doing something, God knows what. And, then I get the eyes rolling, and, they're trying to like, what's taking so long and blah blah blah. Then I go there. What took they tell me what took you so long? I said, well, you skipped me and you went to my teller, and you could have been out of here 5 minutes ago.
Yeah.
So it's prejudice. I never looked at it as racist. I never looked at it as anything else. It's more like being prejudiced towards me because I wasn't like I have an accent. I know I have an accent. So people kind of tend to steer away from it. So, and when me as a conservative, I don't even call myself Republican because I'm not a Republican. I'm an independent. I'm a policy voter. You know what I mean? I think it's so stupid just to tie yourself to a party versus, thinking what policy is going to affect you and your family directly, no matter who's presenting the policy, So, and, I've been called racist and all that stuff. And, these people don't even know what racist means. Yeah. I don't say my skin color is the authority of anybody. I don't say that, if you, I'm going to use that as an example, if you don't mind. You as a successful individual, I'm going to root for you because you're working hard, you're going through your thing, you're doing your thing, you're becoming a successful individual. I'm not stopping you. In fact, I'd rather help you get ahead because I see you put in the work. I see you focused. And for these school boards trying to bring that into the class of my kids, telling my kid, hey, since you're white, your skin is white, you're more privileged. Yeah. Versus a Hispanic kid or a black kid telling, hey, you're oppressed, bro. You don't have the same brain capacity as this kid. Yeah. Which is not true. We're all human. We all have different capabilities. My son had a speech delay. He didn't speak until he was 4. Mm-hmm. I don't think his skin was giving him privilege to speak at age 2. Yeah, right? Exactly. So, then I look at, it's funny because I took him to a soccer practice. He doesn't really have good foot coordination. Then I see this Hispanic kid. I think he was like, I swear that he was like 4 years old and he ran like Superman. Dude, that kid was fast. Yeah. So I was like, this kid has it built in him. He's able to do this versus my son, he's not able to do. Mm-hmm. I didn't look at his skin. I just saw his capability, what he's able to do. So, and when they bring that kind of stuff into the picture, man, like these kids gets dumber and dumber because now they feel like, oh my God, this kid, he has a darker skin than I do. He must be needy. Like he needs me to help him. He is not getting the proper attention. He's not, no. My kids, I swear to God, my kids, like when I ask them who your friends are, they just tell me their name. Yeah. They don't say, oh, she's a black kid or he's a black kid or, he's a brown kid. They don't do that. They just say name. He's like, oh, Martin, he's a cool guy. I like him. Maria, she's so awesome. She's funny. They just address them by name and character. That's how they tell me who their friends are in school. And now I have to sit here and explain to them, hey, next time if Martin or Joseph comes to you and tell you, hey, I'm Josephina, I was like, well, that guy, he prefers to be called a she. And, they're like, why? How can you explain that to an 80-year-old? Yeah. I don't know how to explain it to him. I don't know how to, break it down to the guy, to my child that, hey, this is what they want. And if my child does not use the proper pronoun, my child gets in trouble. My child gets suspended. This is in their guidelines. My child will get suspended if they do not use the proper pronoun. Wow. That's insane. So,
well, they try to say that it's discriminatory not to do that, not to use proper pronouns. But my argument would be, well, it's discriminatory to make somebody use pronouns that don't match that person's biological sex. Like it's almost like you're saying, hey, I can't refer to you by what, I believe that you are, right? Which is,
Right.
just man and woman. And obviously I'm saying that you have a lot of Christian paraphernalia, you got crosses in the background. Obviously it seems that Christianity has had a deep impact on your philosophy and outlook on life. And, I just want you to kind of elaborate on that a little bit and how that kind of plays a role as a Christian, right, in this country. I mean, even if you're Muslim or any of these other religions as well, I mean, how can you reconcile using being forced to use these pronouns that don't necessarily line up with your religious beliefs?
So on the religious aspect of it, look, religion is supposed to be a meditation tool, not a propaganda tool.
Yeah. Unfortunately,
a lot of priests, mullahs, clerics, they use it as a propaganda tool. That's unfortunate. It's a given. Like I can't say, Christianity, Islam, Buddhist, or Judaism, they're all pure. No, none of them are pure. You have to criticize it at the same time. But the body of it teaches you manners, it teaches you respect, it teaches you how to treat another human being as another human being, not as an animal, not as an object. So that's the foundation of it. So when you have that foundation, when you're raised on that foundation, you want to push that foundation to somebody else. And now atheism is the biggest thing. I'm an atheist, blah blah blah, like I don't believe in God, I don't believe in religion. Well, good for you. Well, that's where you lose value. Because that's where you lose identity. Most of these people don't have an identity. They don't know who they are, where they came from. They don't have a culture. They're just trying to create their own culture at this point.
A culture of not having a culture.
Correct. You know what I mean? So, I'm the guy who came here from a different culture, but I never pushed my culture on somebody else. I never told somebody, you have to believe in what I believe in, or else I'm going to complain.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like when a bunch of people came here and they tried to push Sharia law. Like you see it in Michigan, you see it in Falls Church, actually, near Virginia. There's a big percent of Muslims living there, but now they're coming out, we need to push Sharia law. What the hell?
Yeah.
If you want it so much, why don't you go back where you came from?
Yeah.
That's what Sharia law is. Go back to Pakistan. Go back to now, Afghanistan. Now Sharia law is going to be pushed over there, like hardcore. Like go back to Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia is the master of Sharia laws. And problem is, people and kids these days don't have a clue about history, don't have a clue about anything because they don't teach them.
Yeah.
This is not taught on a high school level. Of world history is not taught in high school level. That's the problem. So United States as a whole, it's in its own bubble. And there's only a few that actually step out to see what's going on and what's happening. And you as an individual, you see it, how it reflects it against your own beliefs. And you're like, dude, this is wrong. Like, this is child abuse. Like, the children, all they need to think about is, learning how to do arithmetics and learn how to do history and science, versus now they have to worry about pronouns. Now they have to worry about how that kid is dressed. I mean, this was all around. Like, when I went to high school, kids wore $300 pairs of Jordans and all the stuff, and they get jumped and their shoes get stolen. And it's like, you don't need to wear a $300 pair of shoes in high school, bro.
Yeah, exactly.
But we lack culture here now. Like, the culture is almost depleted, and it's not the cause of the immigrants who are coming here. This is the cause of the second or third generation of children who grew up here. And what happens is the culture kind of gets lost as new generations are born, new kids are born. They tend not to follow the old tradition. They get like a little bits and pieces of it, but not the whole thing, and that's fine. That's not a problem. But you have to realize, once you start pushing your agenda on somebody else, that becomes a totalitarian move. that becomes a dictatorship move. Like, now you have to do what I do. Now you have to believe in what I believe in. You know, you lose your freedom at that point. When you get that up to a certain power that can actually pass it and make it into a policy or a law, me as an individual just lost every single right and freedom I had of that belief.
Yeah.
So
no, I definitely I agree with what you're saying there, a lot of it. And you know, the crux of it, it sounds to me like is what you're saying is that it's the fact that you're being forced to do something, right? That
right.
You know, you're imposing your beliefs on me. Now, their argument is that, hey, well, you know, it's about respect and treating people as human beings, which is what you're saying, right? Like, you know, everybody wants to do that. Okay, everybody wants to be respected. Okay. However, again, there's a difference between, like, you know, just, you know, general respect and giving that in a way that is kind of optional versus being forced into
right.
this, what you perceive as being respectful towards you because you want a certain pronoun used, you want to be referred to as a certain way, right? I mean, my thing is, I look at it like this when it comes to the pronoun stuff. If people want to be called what they want to be called, that's fine. But you can't mandate it, okay? When it becomes law, that's a problem, right? Now, if somebody personally wants to make the choice to use your preferred pronouns because, you know, they want to be respectful towards you, that's fine. But if somebody chooses not to because of religious reasons, that's also fine, right? You know what I'm saying?
Don't force me.
Exactly. My biggest thing, exactly what you're talking about, is when it comes to forcing people to do this, right? The mandates, okay? And I think that's really what the issue is, because here's the thing, man. I mean, look, there are some parents that do agree with this stuff, right? Where they do, and I'm pretty sure you've come across those parents. You probably had conversations with them in regards to, hey, you know, my child is this and that and the other, and they want to be referred to as this. And that's fine, right? We live in a free country. But again, I mean, you can't, you're now forcing your beliefs on others, right? Only thing I'm advocating for me personally is, hey, just optional, right? Freedom.
Right. Yeah, absolutely, man. I mean, now the what's the population? 1% is the gay and transgender population, and they're trying to force everybody else to oblige by their demand. You know, and you know, I could come in here and collect and, you know, create a group and have a 2% population and just start demanding different things. Just most outrageous things. And just keep screaming about it. And keep screaming about it until they give it to me. You know, screw the population, screw everybody else is what I want.
Screw tradition. You know, I always tell people, you know, we whether people like it or not, we still live in a traditional society to a certain extent, right? We still have, you know, people that are, you know, religious. We still, you know, have ways of going about dealing with each other. You know, it's the same thing when it comes to the bathroom issue.
Man. I mean, look, the way I see it, look, you and I live in this country, right? You have a social security number. I have a social security number. You have a credit score. I have a credit score. You have the option to purchase a car. I have the option to purchase a car. You have the option to buy a house, and so do I. You are free to go wherever you want, buy a plane ticket, fly, drive, ride a boat, whatever you want to do, you can do. I'm not stopping you. I'm not telling you can't do that because I don't like you. That has nothing to do with it. You have the same right as I do. When it came to the gay community, they did not have the gay marriage process, but now they do. Work in progress, right? So now they can get married, they can have a joint life together. That's good. Fine. I don't agree with it. None of your business. Do you. You're richer than I am. Good for you, man. You did what you did to make that money. You did what you did to make that lifestyle for yourself. I'm not hating on you at all. You know, do you leave everybody else alone? Everybody wants to do their own way. Everybody wants to live their own way. You know, I don't want to force you, Greg, to live the way I live.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't want you to tell me how you want me to live.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, so, you know, I don't know if you have kids or not, but like, you know, if you do, or you plan to have kids later, you'll understand exactly what I'm talking about, because once you hold that kid in your hand, your entire life changes.
Yeah.
You know, your entire perspective of life changes. You're no longer that single guy who partied all night and, you know,
Yeah.
stayed up till like 3 a.m. because you didn't care, you don't have anything to do. You know, that everything changes. But here where the government comes in play and changes everything for you. When the government starts mandating things, they're not doing it because the people are demanding it. They're doing it because now they can control you better. This is all about control. When you dumb down people, you control them better. You tell them how to think versus letting them think for themselves. So when you have the projects, when you have people who are depending on the government handout and all that stuff, guess what? They're going to keep voting for that so they could continue getting it. When you have generation of people on welfare, generation, not people who are really needed, you have generation of people knowing how to work the system so they don't have to work or go make a living for themselves, right? So you're strapped to a certain amount of money. You're strapped because you're putting yourself in that situation. You're not going out to take a risk or challenge yourself to do better in life, right? So I've seen it firsthand. When we came here, we were on welfare.
Yeah.
And my dad's like, hey, I can't make enough money. I can't make over this money because our welfare will be cut out. So my brother and I, we scream at our dad. I said, Dad, screw the welfare.
Mm-hmm.
Go make yourself some money.
Yeah.
My brother and I, we left the house. Like my first job was I was 17 years old when I got a job.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, and I've been working for what, 23 years now, 24 years. Still working. I'm not done. You know, I should be retired, but
yeah.
But that's the problem. You know, when you push this kind of society on people, when you push this kind of ideology on people, you know, it's very attractive. They love it because, hey, I don't have to work, I still get paid. So that socialism ideology, that mentality, it's being fed into our kids, you know, along with, you know, equity and equality.
Yeah.
I didn't want to say CRT.
CRT, yeah.
Or the pronoun stuff, you know, that mentality is being to our children in the classrooms. So they have genuinely turned the classroom into a propaganda machine.
Yeah.
And that's where I have the problem with the kid. You know, I'm sure you saw that video from the Utah teacher. She was just, you know, just going at it. And she was a chemistry teacher. She did not speak a single thing about chemistry.
Yeah.
Not a single thing. The entire 5 or 10, I don't even know how long it was. She kept saying, parents are stupid, you're smarter, you know, if you talk about LGBT community, I will personally, you know, do things too that you're going to regret. And, you know, I mean, what kid wants to sit in that classroom?
Yeah.
Well, what parent want their kids to sit in that classroom with that teacher? So, I mean, I don't know what your experience has been, you know, growing up in schools. After high school, I was like, I'm done. Like school wasn't for me. So I'm more like a hands-on type of guy. So I like to work with my hands. You know, I love doing electronic stuff. So that's what I am. But yeah, I mean, this is the stuff that I talk about on my show as well, Immigrant Corner with my friend, because we're both Iranians. We are both immigrants. We started from zero and we made the greatest life for ourselves, and we made a good life for our kids. And here's the thing, Greg. People say you're privileged. I say no, I'm not privileged. I create privileges for myself and my kids.
Yeah,
that's what I do.
Yeah,
I create the privilege. I was not given the privilege. I create them. How I create them, it's my method.
Yeah,
it's my own way of creating those privileges for myself and for my family. So if you don't like the privilege I create for myself, then go find your own privilege. Go see what you can do to give yourself those benefits, those freedom, or those whatever hell you want to call yourself as a, whatever you call as privilege to yourself.
Yeah.
So, yeah, man.
No, I mean, listen, that, you're really hitting on a lot of key points here. I mean, you've kind of just got to, expressed all your thoughts, and, it's interesting stuff, because I feel like we agree on probably 99% of things, and, in my experience, no, I don't have kids, but this issue is important to me because I'm thinking about it one day,
right?
Right. And I'm like, do I really want to bring children into this type of world where, they're being indoctrinated by the government, where the government is trying to become daddy, not just with the welfare system, but also in the classroom as well, right? So they,
right.
You brought that up on your own, right? And that is an excellent point, because there is an argument to be made that there's some more nefarious things going on here. Is that if you dumb down kids, then you can put them on a government right handout. You know what I'm saying? Like,
you control them.
You control, exactly. It's about control, right? Why we want to educate kids? They took, they've already taken, skills out of high school, right? Learning,
exactly.
Hard skills that are going to allow kids to get good employment out of high school. Instead, they said, no, go take out a ton of debt to go to college, okay, to get a gender studies degree. And now you're a debt slave to us for the rest of your life. Okay, you can do that. Or, again, we're not going to teach you any skills in high school, but we're going to start dumbing down high school so those who graduate won't be able to get a job, right? Whatsoever. And now you can go on welfare. So either way, you see what I'm saying? That what's being created here seems to be a society of idiots, right? Mm-hmm. That, is being controlled by the government, either through debt or relying on welfare. Right. And I think that you bringing up those points, again, you helped me with this. You bringing up those points was great, because that's all a part of it as well, too. And there's an argument you made that that's the end result of
you want to give you one good one right now, because it's actually happening to me. My 4-year-old is about to start preschool, right? Mm-hmm. And he learned how to do additions, like 1 + 1 = 2, 2 + 2 = 4. And you know what his teacher told my wife? She's like, he's going to be bored.
Yeah.
I was like, what? He's like, he's going to be bored because we're not going to even cover those stuff.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah.
Why not start him out of preschool? Why not show him addition from preschool? 1 apple + 1 apple = 2 apples.
Dude, what you're saying,
1 orange.
Yeah, what you're saying is literally like a lot of parents, again, even though I don't have kids, I feel like I can kind of connect with you, because I knew how I was raised growing up, right? My parents read to me at an early age, right? Like, Dr. Seuss, they taught me math, stuff like it used to be a badge of honor, right? I remember walking in the 1st grade and being like, hey, I can multiply already, right? Like, I can right? That was what the mentality was. Okay. Right. And what you're bringing up is a mentality that parents, instill in their kids that lead to success, right? And not necessarily even relying on the school, right? Knowing that the school is not even like, that shouldn't be that shouldn't be your primary way of educating your kids. Right. As a parent, you kind of got to take control, because these kids in these schools nowadays aren't even learning this stuff. They're not even being pushed to do more, like you was talking about.
And that was the thing. Like, when I said, look, these are not your children, these are my kids. These are my kids. They're not their kids. My kids are not going there to be raised by the teacher or by the principal or by the superintendent or by the board of education.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The board of education, I think they just should be dismantled. Just get rid of them. Especially Department of Education, they just should be dismantled and get rid of.
Yeah,
they're just the most worthless department I've seen in my life.
Yeah,
they do no good. So, like when I take a ride with my kids, we do multiplication and division. Like, I just yell out, what's 10 plus? What's 10 times 10? What's 20 times 20? Instead of, like, I show them the simplest way to make multiplication and division simple. When they bring their book home, holy crap! Like, For you to do a multiplication, you have to go through 15 different processes just to get the answer.
You're talking about the new math thing that they're doing.
Right.
I forget what it's called, but it's a new way of like doing math that's apparently extremely complicated.
Right. You know, like when I came to this country, I came with the language of math because math is a universal language.
You guys invented that stuff.
I mean,
algebra.
Right. So, I mean, that's my point. And and now it's another policy Loudoun County wanted to get rid of was advanced math. So basically, calculus probably will be eliminated out of the school curriculum. So for kids who need calculus to go to universities or colleges of their choice, that's a requirement for them to have. Mm-hmm. Now they're going to have to take it in the private sector. So, you know, parents have to get a private tutor or whatever so that they could take calculus. So calculus is no longer available in high school. So guess what that creates? It creates another privileged society.
Yep.
Because the kids whose parents are able to pay for private sessions and put their kids into calculus classes versus that kid who is already smart enough, who is able to do it on his own through high school and put himself through calculus class, but he doesn't have the money to do it. Guess what happens now? That kid whose parents have money, they move up, the child will have to probably do a year in college before he could get to the university of his choice, just to take that class. So this is by design, my friend. This is my belief. This is my opinion. I think this is all by design. This is all because this is all about control. This is all about power. These politicians don't care about the kids. These politicians don't care about anybody but themselves. These are the most worthless people I've ever seen in my lifetime. This is on both sides of the party, to be honest with you. They don't care. They don't because 30, 40 years ago, when you yelled at your governor, when you yelled at your mayor, they actually heard you. When you yelled at the school board, you tell them, hey, this is wrong. And you have like 300 parents screaming, don't put this in the classroom, or don't do this, or don't do that. They actually listened and didn't do it. Now they only tailor to a small group of people, you know, the cancel culture. You know, I'm not scared of cancel culture, bro. Bring it at me, dude. I cancel you before you can cancel me, because I will make your life. I will actually make you see yourself in your own path. Just to see how destructive you're going to be on your own terms. Mm-hmm. You destroying your own life versus, you know, anybody else's, because there's more parents out there that will stand up to this crap than you know they think. So, but the problem lies here again is we don't have a platform to speak on. The tech company is controlled by the liberal leftist media, you know, by the leftists. You know, the media is controlled by them, you know, and all this stuff. So this falls into the whole propaganda scheme. You know, in Iran, when I grew up, I saw the propaganda firsthand. What happens when you want to take over something? The first thing you do, you take over the radio station and the news networks. That's the first thing you want to do. You take over the media. Once you have a handle on media, guess what? The next phase comes in. That's where the government comes in. Control, your freedom's taken away. You don't have the right to speak anymore. You know, all this stuff. You know, you see it in Australia with all the pandemics, right? 6 people died. The entire country is shut down. They're locked into their house. What did they do 3 years ago? If you remember, they took all their guns away. So those people can't even defend themselves anymore.
They can't do anything. They're helpless. So whatever the government wants to do in the name of...
They're done. Exactly. Adolf Hitler did the same thing. Told his people, you don't need guns anymore. When he was in process of taking power, Adolf Hitler did the same thing. Took away all the weapons because he didn't want retaliation by the people who were armed. What's happening in Afghanistan? Same thing.
I literally was about to bring that up.
People don't have arms to defend themselves. Taliban took over the entire country in 10 days without a single shot.
Yeah.
Not a single shot fired.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. Like when you bring these up, it's because people they live in different, they live in a dream world, I guess. I don't know. And when they see me saying these kind of stuff, oh, you're crazy, dude. You're nuts. You're a conspiracy theory. I said, are you watching a different TV than I am?
Yeah, you actually. I started calling them conspiracy theories because I'm like, if you're trying to put out a conspiracy that this is not happening when it actually clearly is.
Mostly peaceful protests while the building is burning behind them.
Bam, bam, bam. Right? So what they say, death to America, but they're mostly peaceful. You saw that? Yeah, and yeah.
Like what the hell?
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
You kidding me? Are you freaking kidding me? Like, and this is what I'm talking about, my friend. It's it's the stuff they say, and I guess people are that naive. I swear to God, these people are that naive to actually believe, this kind of crap that's being fed into the society, and especially into the kids. And that's where I'm scared the most, is because once our kids are out of school, they're going to have a different ideology than what we try to teach them.
Yeah.
Because now they are coming from a place of authority. They are coming from, the teacher told me I can't say this in classroom anymore. The teacher said I cannot write this anymore. The teacher said I can't call this guy, I can't call Jeff anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, so what? Like, if now I take my kids out of public school and put them in private school, why would I do that? I don't want my taxes going to that school anymore. I want my taxes go to my private school that I want to put my kids in. Exactly. Because I don't want your ideology. You keep it to yourself.
Yeah.
This is why I'm actually pro school choice.
Yeah.
I'm pro school choice because if the school system sucks, the children should not go there. Yeah. And I'm sure you read about it, how, all these kids growing up in the project and the school system, it's a failure. Well, you know why? I swear to God, I read an article. This kid was in senior class. He could not read or write. The teachers would just keep passing him to the senior class. When he got to senior, he had a GPA of like
Baltimore. That's what you're talking about.
Yeah. He had a GPA of like 1.0.
Yeah.
Like, how did you succeed? Yeah, so it was like ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's like, how the hell did this kid make it from 9th grade to 12th grade without passing any of his classes? And his mom is like, I don't know what happened. Nobody called me. Nobody told me. I'm working 3 jobs. I'm doing this. I said, dude, now this kid has to start all over again from 9th grade, try to get himself all the way to 12th grade at age 17. So by the time he finishes high school, he's going to be like 21 years old.
Yeah, he's going to be old enough to buy those kids alcohol.
Exactly. So this is the problem. And that's the problem. When you take proficiency out of your school, like there's no proficiency test anymore. Yeah.
Yeah.
Why? So they could have dumb kids.
Yeah.
So they could have uneducated kids. These kids who take out hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of college loans, and they come out dumber than they walked in.
Yeah.
Now, okay, forgive the college debt. Well, shit. Excuse my language. I should have done that. I could have came out like $200,000 by now.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, anyways, man,
Nah, you good? So this has been a pretty interesting conversation and very insightful. And I want to thank you again for coming on my channel. I just want to give you the opportunity to, maybe give some last remarks, and also make sure that you tell the audience about your platform and, what you're doing with your friend. I think it's called an Immigrant Corner. Yeah, and we'll wrap it up and kind of go from there.
Yeah, Greg, again, thanks, man. Thanks for reaching back. You heard my calling.
Yeah.
Thanks for giving me a chance to speak to your audience. You're doing a great job, man. I've been watching your videos, and you're just the most articulate and smart guy I've seen. that you point out exactly how things are working out, like in your own view, like it's amazing, and you have a great audience as well. Talk about Immigrant Corner. What we do, my friend and I, we take current events and compare them to historical events. We talk about a lot of U.S. history, what happened during the 18th and 19th century. We talk about Middle East history. We talk about a whole range of things, and mostly we talk about our own experiences growing up and how we can relate to what's happening now versus what was happening while we were growing up in a regime during the regime change, during the revolution in Iran, and how a totalitarian regime came and took over this beautiful country. We also talk about China. We talk about we talk about a whole range, but most important thing, we bring history into it. So that way we can actually, expose some of the stuff, when they say history repeats itself, it's exactly that, and along with some, our own opinion worked in there.
Yeah, well, like I said, I want to thank you for coming on the platform. I really do appreciate it. Guys, go check out Immigrant Corner, right? Again, this is Dimis Christophy. Dimis, thank you again for coming on. I really appreciate your insight and you helping my audience understand what's going on in our school system and, how concerned parents actually are and what's going on the ground. I really appreciate that. So with that being said, guys, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Again, go check out Immigrant Corner. And most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.
Thank you.